Hello and welcome to Starting Points, where one thing leads to another. Last time I showed you this book, and when I looked at it, the video, I saw that I'd spelled it with a X. Peter Shostak. It's with a K at the end, Shostak. I felt badly about it, but if you've got the title, you can always look it up. Well, I just did that. I looked it up, and some of these books that I share out of print, and I wish that I could have a connection with a publisher and reissue these titles. But anyway, hopefully you live somewhere near a library that you can have access to them. Okay. I wanted to tell you about these postcards. I had some postcards for 50 years. And then I was in a used bookstore and they had a bunch of postcards. And I looked through them and I chose postcards that I liked. I like that painting. And when I thought about doing the videos, and trees being the theme, I thought, I'll look through those postcards and see if there's, and there was really quite a number that had trees or wood, the use of wood. So this is somewhat incompatible with looking at snow and ice in the north and the far north, because it's springtime, the fruit trees in blossom, girls on the swing, things are green, but there is spring in the north. It doesn't look like this exactly, but people find ways to enjoy all the seasons wherever you live. And okay, last time I also spoke about snow blindness, and I felt pretty sure that I knew whatever I knew about snow blindness from reading a book by Gary Paulsen. But he's written a lot of books. And I started looking at his books that I knew were about dog sleds. I said, no, that's not right. He wasn't dog sledding. And in fact, I found the book. It's called The Fox Man. And he's not snowshoeing, but cross-country skiing. So he's got his skis on, and he sets out early in the morning to visit the Fox Man, who lives to the east of him. So as he is skiing, he is looking at the sun low in the horizon, and the light is bouncing off, where if it was straight up above, it wouldn't be affecting him at all. But this, and as he goes along, if you want to read about it, I found the pages as well. I toyed with the idea of reading it to you, but I think it's page 98, 99, and 100. Now, here's a Gary Paulsen book called Wood Song. Now, Gary lived in Minnesota, northern Minnesota, for quite a long time. They have long winters. And he got, here's the wintertime. What can I do to be outside, to be a part of nature? And, dog team. So he starts training a dog team. And this is a great story called Wood Song. In the woods, roads, wood roads, lumber roads, and things like that. Dog Song is about Inuit and the dog sleds in the far north. Now, Robert J. Blake wrote this book about Akiak, Tale of the Iditarod, and it's thrilling. It captures things. It's got amazing pictures of viewpoints, and he wrote another book called Togo, and has a really nice map in here. And I want to use that to share you something about the Iditarod. I didn't quite know all the details about it. It was designed to transport a serum for inoculating people so they would not get diphtheria. And there was an outbreak of diphtheria in Nome, Alaska. And the only way that they could get the serum is to bring it by train in cartons along the rail line, and then put it onto a dog sled team. The dog sled team, you wonder why they went up that way. Well, they didn't have to cross the mountains, and once they got there, then they could follow the frozen rivers all the way here, and then overland, and even go across Norton Bay to get to Nome. So it's quite an exciting tale, and it focuses on one dog team in particular, and that dog team's leader. And I thought both of those books would be books for 10-year-olds, whereas the Gary Paulson, maybe 14, 15-year-olds. They're just approximations. And I have this book, Seymour Reed, A Race Against Death, a true story of the far north, which is the telling of the why they run the Iditarod to commemorate that amazing race to save lives. Alone for years, the Eskimos have lived simple, healthy lives. They were often hungry, but rarely sick. Then the white man came. They brought the Eskimos tools and stoves and wood for houses and weapons for hunting. But they brought their diseases too. The Inuits had no protection against these strange new diseases, and they easily fell ill. Dr. Welsh remembered the terrible flu epidemic 6 years earlier. And you see, this seems appropriate with COVID. Just whole Inuit villages have been wiped out. Whole villages. Right here in Nome, even with good medical help, there were many flu orphans. These were children whose parents had died from the flu epidemic before the flu epidemic could be stopped. Now, I remember that epidemic happened after the First World War had ended, and it many casualties. And Dr. Welch quickened his steps, anxious to get home. He wasn't just worried, he was angry too. Months ago, he'd radioed the U.S. Health Service in Seattle. He'd asked them to rush fresh supplies of serum to have on hand for an emergency. But the precious medicine had never come, and now it was too late. Nome was icebound in winter. No ship could get through Norton Sound. He knew it would take weeks to send serum all the way from Seattle to seaward on Alaska's southern coast. Now, we did some videos on flying, and people were flying planes, but not in conditions like this, where blizzards had come up, whiteouts, and you couldn't see anything. And 1925, and a neat next step, reading this leads to that. Earlier I showed you this book called Throwstone. It's the first American boy by Ted Sales and Mary Stevens. And dog plays an important part on several occasions in this story. And it's fascinating. It's a fascinating chronicle of the first people to come across that frozen Bering Strait from Siberia into Alaska. Now, words for these places. So I'm just focusing on the dogs. Now, Theodore Taylor wrote a book called Ice Drift. Two brothers on a drift of ice with their dog and a polar bear. Quite a story. Now, there'll be a few other stories I'm going to show you where the polar bear and a person are sharing broken off ice floe. Now, for the polar bear, it's not a big problem. He can dive into the water. He's got this fur coat, and he can swim and go to another ice floe if he wants to. But for the human, it's a problem. Now, Theodore Taylor, I was familiar with because I'd read with my class the K, where everybody takes a part each day as we read along, and the next day, the next people alphabetically. So we make our way through this story. The K, actually there's only two main characters in the story. The K's a name for an island in the Caribbean. And then it was so popular, made into a film, that he wrote a prequel sequel. It follows the K, but it actually is talking about the time before the K happens. Timothy of the K, Theodore Taylor. And I just thought to come from the Caribbean and the tropics where snow and ice. Now, I first encountered my sense that there was a far north where there would be snow a lot and cold a lot, and was reading The Call of the Wild, which brought gold was found in the Klondike, and people tried to get up there as quickly as they could, and they had heard rumors of what you needed. It'd be great. You've got to go climbing up amazing passes with snow and ice, and you need a dog. You need snowshoes. You need certain and lots of warm clothes and supplies, and best to keep it as small as possible so that you can pull the sled. If you've got a dog that can help, that's a big bonus. So this is a story of a man who is somewhat unscrupulous. He he values money, or the pursuit of money anyway, over decency. And it's not a long novel. And in this book also are short stories. And it's got a short story in here about a man and a dog, and called "To Build a Fire." And I don't know how old I was, but probably maybe in high school, I think. 50 cents. Jack London's North, Philippe Lassange. And he's got lots of photographs of the times, and patching that together with things that Jack London mentioned in his numerous stories and writing, giving you a feeling of what it's like. And I've marked one place that I wanted to show you. Those amazing hats with the flaps that come down, and but I've got it for this picture here. I don't know whether you'll be able to see it. It's a small picture to start with, but I'll read what it says. In conditions this extreme, a little ingenuity can save your life. Here, in the midst of a blizzard, some clever souls are sailing their merchandise over White Pass on sleds. So there's the sail, the sled. This man's pulling his sled. So I thought, whoa, yeah, that's a very clever idea. The wind is going to come in to the face of the massive slope that you're going to go up, and as it comes in and hits it, it's going to go up, and you're going to get lots of wind and boost from the other wind that's hit to so I thought that was it made me smile for sure, and it reminded me of Bruce Catton. He wrote a book called Waiting for the Morning Train, An American Boyhood. It's just a fascinating book, and in this book he does ice sailing on a lake, and I always thought, boy, that's really neat. I've never done it. I do have a former student whose two brothers, one older and one younger, have done it on the Kennebecasis River in New Brunswick, and they took video of it, and you can really hear the scrape of the runners on the ice, and you have to know the skills of sailing. Helps a lot to be able to adjust your sail. The closest I ever got to anything like that was one winter when the field in front of the school, flat field, had snow in it and had melted and then frozen. And there was like a sheet of ice all along quite a stretch there. And students really probably showed us how to do this. You'd go out, you'd unzip your jacket, you'd stand with the wind behind you, you'd hold your jacket open so you had a sail created behind you, and it would just push you along in your boots. And if you needed to stop, well, you just pull this all in, and then that would slow you down. And so, well, thanks for joining me. As some neat recollections that make me smile. And next time, we'll carry on. Well, bye for now.